Hey everyone, George Canitas here, and I want to talk to you a little bit today and in a couple of videos that I'm putting together, a small series about how every Christian can reach people for Jesus doing what they're already doing. Now, you've probably been in a church service or in some sort of place where you've heard someone preach on the Great Commission. Everyone has been there. If you've been saved for any period of time, you have heard one or two or 10 or 1,000 sermons on the Great Commission, on reaching the world for Christ. And so many times what happens is we sit there, we hear this message, we get excited, we feel convicted, we know we're supposed to be doing something with this. We're supposed to have a part in this. We're supposed to be out telling people about Jesus, sharing the message, and leading them to Christ. We may even feel condemned. We may feel like, I should have been doing this already. And for whatever reason, I haven't done it, and I haven't done the things I knew I could do or should do. And we leave either maybe feeling energized, maybe feeling excited, or maybe feeling, just overwhelmed with conviction, maybe even feeling a little bit sad. Oh man, I haven't been doing this, but I'm going to start now. I'm going to give it a go. And what seems to happen 9 times out of 10, even more than that, I think, and I know because I've been there, I've been one of those people, is we leave, we have excitement, we have intentions, we have energy, we may even feel, it may even been a kick in the pants to get started doing something we should have already been doing, and we leave and we think about it, we take a couple of steps, we may even go to say some things, and inevitably, for whatever reason, it seems like we just don't follow through on it. Or maybe we do a couple of things and then we just kind of peter out. And what I've found is, people get disheartened about that. You get down. The next time we hear a message about it, all those feelings and things come flooding back to us. What do I do? I didn't do it last time. I know I should. And what was excitement the last time we heard the message feels a little bit more like, either we feel bad that we haven't done it, or maybe we feel like, somebody else needs to be doing it and it's not us. But deep down on the inside, I think we know that we need to have a part in this. So why does this happen? Well, from my experience, it feels a little bit like we're trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. And what I mean by that is this. We're taking the message. We're taking the gospel. We know we're supposed to have a part in sharing that and being an example and being a witness and telling people what we know, what we've experienced in the Lord. But we try to use 2,000-year-old methodology and tools to do that. It's kind of like if we tried to use an ox cart to help with overnight shipping. It's just, something's not working. Now, before I go any further, I'm not in any way saying that the message doesn't work. The gospel is the most powerful tool, the most powerful message ever. The good word about the good things that Jesus did to save us, a bad people, from eternal destruction is the most powerful message out there. It's not the message that has a problem. The problem is the tools that we're using to connect people with the message. I'll be honest, I can only think of a handful of people that I have ever met, in my entire life, that I've ever personally known, who had an ability to go out and just share their faith off the cuff. Just tell people about Jesus, tell people about their experience, and do it so genuinely, do so not feeling awkward, to do so in a way that was effective as well as, kind of peaceful and welcomed. For some reason, they've got a gift for that. If you're one of those people, then, I encourage you, tell people about how you're doing and how God has put it in your heart to be able to do that. But for the 99.9% of the rest of the people that I know in the body of Christ, that has just not been the case. And we've been trying to use tools and expressions and phrases and formulas, things that, maybe Paul used, maybe other apostles have wrote about in order to try to reach people today. And we've had it's been an uphill battle. It's kind of like, pushing a rock uphill for whatever reason. And that's both maybe internally, maybe a little bit psychologically, but also in terms of results. As a pastor, as a teacher, as a professor, I found 3 things that I believe hinder people the most when it comes to doing something, to putting something into practice that I've taught or that they've learned through some channel. And those 3 things are this. 1, lack of information. Number 2, lack of desire. Number 3, lack of tools. In essence, either they don't know what to do, they don't know what's needed, they don't know what's expected, or they don't know the situation, or they don't have the desire, they don't have the drive, they don't have the push on the inside to do it, or 3, they don't have the tools, they don't have the equipment, the training, and what's needed to go through. So when I began to think about this subject, I thought, man, that's what we need to do. People have the knowledge, they know what they need to do, they know about the Great Commission. They have a desire, there's a passion in their heart for Christ and to do this, but they're lacking the equipment, they're lacking the tools. You're like, well, George, what are you advocating? Well, I am not advocating that we change the message. I'm not in any way saying that the gospel needs changed, that it's not relevant, or we need to water it down or change it in some strange way to be relevant. That's not it. I believe that if we're doing it right, that the message about Jesus and what he's done is as powerful today as it was in the day of the apostles. Like, well, how do we do it right? Well, in my experience, what I've seen is this. Paul used things that were in his culture, in his day, in his situations and surroundings, in order to be a bridge to the gospel. So today we try to use the same things that Paul used, but it doesn't seem to be working. And the problem is, we're not taking a big enough step back. We're examining the little tiny things that Paul did, the specific words, the specific situations, and we're trying to replicate that today. But really, if we look back at what Paul did, he went in the circumstances. He went in the cities and places. Some he planned on, some he didn't plan on. And he found things there that were relevant to people. Now, I use the word relevant, and in the modern church age, that word has taken on all sorts of meanings. What that really means is Paul saw things that the people there understood. And he used that as a door, as a bridge, to get people to be able to understand and hear the message. He didn't change the message, but he changed the way he approached people. He found things that people understood. He took that then and used that as a door, as a bridge, as a gateway to create meaning and to enable people to learn something. I have a background in education and in learning. My PhD even is in communications media and instructional technology. My master's is in adult education. And some of the things that I've learned is the foundation, the core of all learning. The way we learn almost everything that we learn is by bridging and connecting things. So for example, we take 2 things that we already know, we already understand, and we bridge those 2 things. We connect them in some way to create a new idea, a new thought, a new understanding. And we take some of the things we understand from thing A and some of the things we understand from thing B, and we say, all right, well, this new thing is kind of like this and kind of like that. And maybe we eliminate some things or we add some things, but we use 2 things we already understand to create a new idea, a third idea that's a blend of those 2 understandings. And then as we experience that new idea, it becomes bigger and it grows and gets deeper inside of us and we understand it even more. And then we have that new third idea that we can connect with other ideas to understand new things. And this is one of the fundamental ways that we learn. And you did this. He didn't just go in with a formula. He walked in one time, if you recall, to a city, and he looked around, and his heart was provoked within him for Christ, and he saw what the people were doing, and it just moved him and just urged him to do something. And he looked around, and he saw an altar among all these different gods and all these different altars, and he saw this altar with the inscription, "To the unknown God." And Paul said, aha. In his mind, he said, aha, here's something that they understand. They have this. They know what this is. I'm going to use this as the door, as the gateway, as the idea that they understand to connect them to a new idea. And starting with that altar, did they build that altar to the God of Israel? Probably not. But Paul said, this God that you don't know, he's the one I'm here to tell you about. And there was a connection that was made. And starting at that thing in that culture, he was able to preach a message to them about God and about Christ. And that day, at the end of the day, there were people that had heard his message and the things that followed that got saved, that then followed after Paul and became disciples and learned even more. It wasn't a formula that Paul used, but he found something that they understood, and he connected with that. So what do? How do we take that? Well, we need to look at our society today. We need to look at the things in our culture. Not to find a way to change the message, but find ways in our culture to connect with people. And I think one of the number one ways we can do that is through entertainment. We are in the most entertained culture, I believe, that has ever walked the earth. We live to be entertained. Everything that we do is entertainment focused. Movies, TV, video games, phones, social media, the whole 9 yards. Everything is focused on entertaining us. And one of the deepest and most thought-provoking ways that happens is through film. I can remember situations in my own life where God ministered to me through a film, through a piece of media, through a piece of entertainment that someone brought me. I didn't know about it. I didn't know it existed. They never said that they brought it to me to change my life or to minister something to me or have some sort of spiritual goal, but they brought a movie, they brought a film, they said, hey, you want to watch this? And I watched it, and things happened. God opened things in my heart through that, which is why I believe that using Christian movies, and movies that have Christian themes and Christian elements in them and provoke spiritual questions are tools. And when we begin to use movies as a tool to reach people, as a tool for the gospel, as a tool to slide in questions, just a question. Maybe we watch a film, maybe at the end we don't share a gospel altar call. We ask a question about something in the film. We ask something that causes a person to look on the inside and examine their spiritual condition. And when we can do something like that, things begin to open in front of us. We have a new tool that is powerful. A tool, rather, let me say it another way, we have a tool now that is a conduit for something powerful. Because the power is in the gospel. The power is in the message. The power is in the Holy Spirit. The movie becomes a tool that we use to open the conversation, to open people's minds, to thinking about things, to thinking about their own situation, their own condition, their own hardship, their own questions, their own thoughts, the God-shaped hole on the inside of everyone that is looking to be filled. And that opens doors. That opens other conversations. That opens other opportunities. So I'm going to create another couple of videos, I think, because I don't know how much time you have to sit down and watch one long video of me go on and on about this, but I'm going to create a couple other videos to go deeper into some of these things, to help equip you to use things in this modern culture to reach people for Christ, doing things you're already doing. Things you already have in your house. Things that you're already doing maybe for recreation. Things that you've already have access to and help you to learn and to grow and to get some tools into your hands, some training to actually be able to take these things and use them as tools for Christ in a way that's not awkward, it's not off-putting, but it is sincere, it is genuine, and people see them and receive them as genuine. So that's what we're going to do. If you've got any specific things that you'd like to learn about, that you'd like me to talk about, man, reply to this video with a comment, ask a question, send me an email. I'd love to cover some of your questions in this series of videos that I'm putting together. But until next time, please, I invite you, if you're watching this anywhere other than on my blog at truestorychristianmovies.com, go there, find this video, comment on it, share it with someone, get someone else involved. Until then, God bless.